Awesome.
Hey, Ivan, first off, obviously getting this win, get 5 straight as you guys head into Kansas State, just, how big was tonight, keeping that momentum going?
It was pretty big. I mean, I would say the Horns are hot right now, and we're walking around pretty confident around the locker room. I know, like, our first couple of games we lost, and it seemed like the mojo was kind of lost for a second, but, I think we're up right now. And it's pretty contagious, as you can see. So we're just rolling right now.
Speaking of, hot right now, it's nothing much hotter than your bat right now. What's been kind of working for you over these last 5 games, going back to the Kansas series?
I just kept everything the same. I just took a little bit of pressure off myself. I was slumping for a little bit, and there was one game where I just had that attitude walking up to the plate, and I'm just like, how worse can it get, So just take a step back, working on my breathing and sticking to my work. So I'm trusting it.
Dustin, go ahead.
Yeah, you mentioned just sticking to what you were doing. Was there a point where you felt like, okay, I'm kind of locked in now, I'm in the right place mentally? Was it kind of heading into this Kansas series this past weekend, or when was it?
I would say a little bit of the first game I got in there against Oklahoma. I made like a little adjustment. My hands were a little lower. I was had like a wider base, and now I picked up my hands with a little bit taller of a base. And it's kind of helped me see the ball a little bit better. So that's an adjustment I made. As far as the approach and mentality, it just kept it the same. But it was just, minor tweaks that I had to change. Baseball, it's just a game of adjustments. So, yeah.
You've got quite the following back home. I've had people tweet several nicknames at me for you. Do you have a preferred nickname? What's caught on here at Texas?
And I've had so many nicknames throughout the years. It's just whatever. Honestly, if you call me Ivan, which is my name in Spanish, Ivan, Raul Ivan, my birth name, Raul, I go by it all. I don't really have a preferred name. So, yeah.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Ivan, there are a lot of guys on this team who've not completed a season at the Division I level, and you're one of them. I know you played JUCO. I know Cam's played JUCO, but what's allowing y'all, without that experience, to still be able to go out and have performances like tonight and be able to, play conference series and win them and sweep them and that type of thing, even if you haven't been this far in the season at the D1 level yet?
Yeah. I wouldn't say the game has changed as far as jumping from JUCO to Division I. Baseball's still baseball. Obviously, like, just the attention to detail at this game, like laying down the bunts and just being a little bit crispier. I would say, like, that's just the change of level. But Cam and I are grinders. We're just JUCO bandits, I guess you'd say. We didn't come from what we have here. We had to toughen it out with our own, trainer tape or all that. So just being here is just a blessing. So definitely a culture change, a different world for sure.
Danny, go ahead.
Ivan, how did you end up at Texas, kind of going back to high school? I think I read somewhere you only had maybe one Division I offer in high school. What was kind of your road to Texas?
So out of high school, I only had like 4 to 5 JUCO offers. I had one Division I from New Mexico State. It wasn't much. I'd probably say it was like a 25%. They try to, get me like to get some type of in-state tuition towards my scholarship. But I just decided to go the JUCO route because I was given the opportunity to two-way pitch and hit. And then once my junior college coach saw my capabilities at the plate, he just said, I just want you to hit. And after that, my freshman year, I was an All-American, put up pretty good numbers. And, I think without that decision, I wouldn't have come to a school like Texas. So, yeah.
So are you going to try to convince David to let you throw an inning of relief at all somewhere down there?
It's been 2 years since I've been on the mound. I think those days are over. I'd rather stay healthy than get hurt. So.
Got one last one. Chris Tavares, go ahead.
Hey, Ivan. You've already kind of touched on how you guys, the Horns, are hot right now, but what's the mindset going into another Big 12 weekend? You guys have won your first 3 Big 12 series. You finally got a Big 12 sweep last weekend. What's the mindset as you guys are on this roll in Big 12 play?
Don't make it more than what it is. We played pretty big teams, and we kind of made the game more than what it was. It kind of sped up on us. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and now that we see what we could do against big time competition, also in conference play, we're just trying to slow the game down, make it, not make it more than what it is, and just go out there and compete. See ball, hit ball, see ball, field ball. Just, make it as simple as possible.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ivan. Appreciate the time. Congrats.
Thank you. You guys have a good night. Have a good
Good way to finish a double midweek. I thought offensively we were efficient. 8 runs with 2 outs. That's such a tribute to our offensive coaches and Tulo and Coach Miller, and the commitment that they have to our players and our players back to each other. Just grinding out at bats and never giving up the inning or never giving up the at bat. Defensively, we had a couple of blunders, but I thought Pete did a nice job of going 6 innings and potentially could have went 7, potentially could have went 8 if we would have taken care of the ball there. But overall, he was good. He's got to get better, and I think that the next step is him finishing at bats when he gets guys 1-2, 0-2. I think that's a big step for him, making a pitch there and not trying to press there. But overall, I really liked our approach. Solid bullpen. Everything was the way you would want to play a Wednesday midweek following a Tuesday when you're playing, solid teams, and then you got a Big 12 weekend coming in.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Joe, start us off.
David, I know this line of questioning probably seems repetitive now, but every week, no matter where his velo is, he always comes in. Pete always comes in and gets the outs and is effective and seems unflappable out there. So is it just one of those things where you have to appreciate the work that he's done, even if his arm isn't all the way where his head has been in these past couple weeks?
Yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of time working on the changeup yesterday. He's totally committed to getting better. He's totally committed to this role that he's in right now. That's helping the ball club and being that 4th starter. And I think he got better tonight, and I think that's a key.
Danny, go ahead.
David, the last 2 nights, Trey has made a really just alert defensive play. That backing up last night and getting the guy at home, and then the play at third tonight. Is that awareness? Is that something that's common for someone his age, or is he just kind of above and beyond at this stage of his development?
I think it's a little of both. I think he's done a great job of being a sponge, but you can't just do that and be a sponge. You have to have an athletic mind. You have to have the ability to anticipate, and I think he's doing a nice job of that. He works hard. He puts the time in to make those types of plays, and he's always in the right spot and always looking for those types of plays, and I think that's critical. He doesn't shy away from the tough play. And a lot of times, guys like that tend to maybe get an extra error here and there just because they'll go for plays where other guys just aren't in a good spot to even go for the play. And I think that plus what I'm always impressed with is that he's really solid on the routine. But, I mean, he's playing at an elite level, and he's got a lot of confidence. I think pitching has a lot of confidence with him behind us, and his leadership comes out. So, I mean, it's hard to say anything other than he keeps growing every day. And, he hasn't had the offensive start that he wants, but he's still been productive. I think he's leading our team in runs scored. He wants to be a great hitter, and he's still a work in progress. But to be able to go out and play defense like that and not carry your offense over is pretty special.
Dustin, you're up.
David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think in terms of like really high tier programs like Texas, Ivan was recruited by many of them. What attracted you guys to him and willing to take a JUCO guy? Because as you've said in the past, when you sign a JUCO guy, it's to be an immediate contributor. And obviously that's exactly what he's doing right now. But what did you guys see or hear in the recruiting process that made you be one of the few teams to really stick your neck out there and go get that guy?
Couple of things. First of all, he would have been much more of an immediate impact had we not been affected by COVID. because he would have stepped in at first base or third base. Secondly, we got a pretty good tip from a former University of Texas player that played in the big leagues, Omar Quintanilla, who lives in El Paso, and that's where Ivan trained. And so he was ready to get out as a one-year freshman out of JUCO. You know, we're pretty cautious of that, dealing with our JUCO coaches, but when a player pretty much announces that he wants to go, we coordinate with the JC, you know, it's pretty respectfully done, but it was just a great combination of, we needed a power bat. Omar gave him a great endorsement, and then he was ready to move on. So we happened to be the team that showed the most interest. I thought Sean did a great job of sticking with him. We knew he could hit. You always are a little suspect of JC numbers, and then you get into, you know, El Paso, where you got a little lighter air, West Texas, and, you know, they get inflated. But this kid is powerful. I mean, he missed hits home runs. The one today, he was kidding with the guys on the bench, so he got jammed. Opposite field, right center field. He's very strong, and he's very confident right now.
Have you had a guy in the past? I mean, I know Anthony Rendon is kind of the bar for everything hitting wise, but a guy with just this much raw power that you see playing games this way. I mean, I know, granted, he's still not through a full season of college baseball, but I mean, the power he's showing is pretty rare.
It's very rare, and I mean, the span that he's done it in, and it's not just the power of the home run. I mean, he hits the ball hard. He's doing a really nice job of leaning on some breaking balls and getting extension through those, where a lot of guys don't have the ability to do that because their hands are committed to the initial movement of their swing. And so I think the ability to manipulate the barrel or have great barrel awareness also puts him in a good spot. We had a kid at Sam Houston State by the name of Anthony Azar, and Anthony hit in our 4-hole, was a catcher, a small body guy, but just generated such bat speed. And he would be similar, you know, but I mean, just true raw power. First time we saw him take BP, it's like, this guy, if he can be on time, is going to really hit. And I think for Ivan, more than anything, is settling into the lineup. And it's part of our plan when we're at KU to basically say, look, this is our lineup, Ivan. You're in there, settle in. You're going to play these 3 games, so just go have good at bats. And boy, he's taking it to another level. We just hope he can continue doing it. And, you know, I'm sure he's going to cool off because that's what happens, but just to keep the same approach. And I think when you look at the approach of our offense, we hit 3 opposite field home runs today. So that puts us in a pretty good spot to stay on breaking balls and stay gap to gap with some guys with some power.
Got one last one, Joe Cook, go ahead.
David, there are a lot of guys on this team who have not finished the Division I baseball season and that are major contributors right now. So how do you keep those guys, you know, locked in over not only this stretch of a lot of games and a lot of days, but finishing a season that they haven't quite had to do at the D1 level yet?
Yeah, we've got a lot of young kids. Like we talked about earlier, more than half our teams never played in a Big 12 series until this year. So they're excited. The chemistry's right. They're very coachable. They're hungry to win. They're hungry to continue a great journey that they've started. But I think it's our duty to kind of control their emotions as well as controlling their workload, because we backed them off a little bit today because they'll put in the work, and it's our job to kind of control that for the simple fact that they've never been there. And that's my job, and Tulo and Coach Miller and Coach Allen's job, to make sure that, you know, we're paying attention to those things. Trey was a little beat up from last night. It was a good opportunity to just say, are you going to rest? I want you to get an extra 4 innings of rest, get some treatment, get ready to go and be as healthy as you can be Friday. And so we've got to keep a good eye out with Tom and just continue to monitor the health of our players, and then the mental state of our players, because the game beats you up. You know, you could have a great week, you could have a couple of great weeks, and then you know, you get humbled. And so dealing with that period is something that's crucial for us, and our coaches do a great job of that.
Thanks, Coach.